Let's see here. What up? How many people do I have? Hello, Mr. Fence. Wait for me to get some people on here so we can do this. You know what? Here's the thing. I have been neglecting you. Oh gosh, you're done. See how fast that happens? I've been neglecting you guys. What up, guys? Because I've been on tour. But I promised you guys a couple months ago that I would not neglect you, and here I am, holding up to my promise. I wanted to do a live for you guys. What's up? Corey Cox. Hey, what's up, man? Hey, I miss you. When are you coming to see me, Corey? Hi. You're playing pretty good, though. Thank you. No lights? I know. I'm sorry about that. Maybe I'll be able to turn on a light somewhere. Tomorrow? You're coming tomorrow. Dude, that makes my heart so happy, Corey. Here's the thing. My backhand is legendary. Dang, that's nice. Appreciate that. That's really kind of you. Sweet paper towels. They're almost out. You know why? Because we keep this place clean. I'm a clean guy. Good luck in Belton. Appreciate that. So, if you looked at the title of this, it's because I wanted to talk to you guys about the wind a little bit. I wanted to have a main subject that I came in here and blabbed about for a little bit. So, I'll get right into that. The last few weeks, obviously, including, well, every week it seems like the wind has been a big factor this year. Every single week there's wind, more wind. Um, and it's been pretty brutal. So I wanted to kind of chat with you guys about what I do to prepare for the wind, and maybe you guys can take something from that um, and learn something from it and help with your games because it seems like it's just a windy year everywhere right now, especially in Texas. Oh my gosh, last night the RV was just all over the place. The shutters up top were like flopping in and out. It was a nightmare. Um, so how I prepare for it is really easy. I don't over practice, which is the one thing. The wind changes every single day. I feel like one of the most important things, and you can quote me on this, is the most important thing is to learn the distances. Okay, the distances are the most important thing in a tournament. Easy kind of segue into a nice Bush Snell plug. Make sure you go and snag yourself a 850 Sport. But the distance is so important because then when it gets windy, you kind of know exactly what you're doing. I don't have to practice as much now because once I get the distance dialed, doesn't matter what the wind's doing. I know how far it is. I know how far it's going to play. I know how if it's straight headwind, it's going to play farther than the 350 that it says, and if it's a tailwind, then it's going to play a bit different. The one thing I don't like to do is over practice, and what I mean by that is when I go to the course and I'm gonna throw a bunch of shots. A lot of times I could play 3 separate days of practice, and all 3 days the wind is in a different direction. That's not good practice because then the last day that I practice is completely different from the next day. And somebody might go, well, what if in the tournament it's coming from that direction? You're right. But when I don't get those rounds in, the distance is the most important thing. I don't overwork myself. Wind is so frustrating, okay? You can't predict the wind. You can't predict whether your putt's going to lift or drop. All you can do is throw your best putt. If it drops, it drops. If it lifts, it lifts. You can get better at it by practicing, just not on the course. I see people out here throwing 4, 5, 6 rounds before a tournament. And that's good practice for maybe them, but I found a different way of doing it. Because the distances are so important, and I don't get these extra shots logged in my head, I kind of go in there with a free mind of being like, okay, the wind's coming from this way. I'm going to do my best shot for that moment. You can't do that when the wind's coming from all kinds of different directions. Once you've played as long as I have, then you've played in different situations. So for a new player, this might not be the best thing. Yes, you need to go out and practice multiple rounds and multiple different conditions. But for me, I don't feel like that's necessary because being fresh, being ready for the tournament, that's what's important. for me to have my legs and be able to throw whatever shot I have to throw in that moment is important. Tailwind, headwind, crosswind, all those things, it doesn't change the distance of the hole. It just changes the conditions. Like, you can't plan for 50-mile-an-hour winds. It just isn't a thing. You're not going to go out there and know what to do when there's 40-mile-an-hour gusts. You just manage it. How do you manage it? There's 3 simple rules that I like to use when I'm playing in the wind. Never show the bottom of the plate of your disc to the wind. That's number 1. As soon as you do that, you're done. Don't try to bite off too much distance, because as soon as you do that, the faster your disc goes, the faster the wind's going to take over and do whatever it wants to it, especially if you accidentally get it a little bit too flat and you expose the bottom of that plate to the wind, you're donezo. So if I can take those rules, I get the distances, I take the 1 rule, which is don't show the bottom of the plate, don't overpower is the other rule, and then don't always play for birdie. Sometimes par is good enough. I played in a skins match today. I won't tell you how I did, but I was laying up a lot of putts because I know that I'm not going to make every single 40-footer when you have 40-mile-an-hour gusts, whether it be tailwind or crosswind. Let's say I run a tailwind 40-mile-an-hour putt, right? Well, the wind's 40 mile an hour and I'm at 40 feet and I run that putt. What ends up happening, if I don't make it perfectly, I'm going to catch metal, and then the reaction of my disc is going to be insane. The wind's going to, if let's say that I barely miss it right and I chain out right side. As soon as I chain out, what happens? I did the rule that I'm not supposed to do. Everybody thinks that it's just off the tee that you need this rule, but it's actually in the circle as well. As soon as I expose the bottom of the plate to the wind, whether I chain out and I expose it or in my flight I expose it, what happens is now I'm at the mercy of the wind, and that's going to roll. And if it rolls to another 25-footer, 25-foot headwind putt is not a gimme. It just isn't. It's an insanely tough putt. So I don't want to give those strokes away. And by doing that, I'm going to be giving myself stress-free golf, which is what you want to do in the wind. As soon as something goes bad when it's windy, it seems like it all goes bad because then you start pressing. Pressing is one of the things that we are taught to do in disc golf right now because you have to birdie every hole, except for when it gets windy. Then 5, 6, 7, 8 down is actually a good score. If you look at like last weekend, 8 down per round might have given you a chance to win the tournament. If it was calm, you were going to have to shoot 11 to probably 12 down per round to win that tournament. So playing consistent golf is important. The next thing is, when there's out of bounds all over the place, play for par. Play for par. Because over the amount of time, over a 3-round tournament, let's say this last weekend, for example, there was like a 556-foot par 3. If I got a par on that every single round, there's not one person that's going to beat me in the tournament. I think there was only like a handful of 2s on that period, and I watched all kinds of the best players in the world go all over the place, playing, taking triple bogeys, double bogeys, single bogeys constantly. I parred every single round, and I guarantee I almost got a stroke on every single person on the entire field by taking par because of the wind. That right there is how you score. That's how you get into contention. Now, after saying that, because I wanted to make a certain point about, windy situations and how I kind of attack it, that's my game plan, and I'm only here to talk about my game plan. Some of the best players in the world, like, you know what I mean, these guys that are 1050 rated, I'm sure they're being a bit more aggressive, but they don't have my game. This is the best I can get out of my game, and that's what's important for you guys to understand. Just because somebody else does it doesn't mean you have to. Learn your game, learn how to score, because it's a scoring game. It's not a game for flair and to look really cool and look pretty. It's to add your score up at the end and for it to be as low as possible. Now I'll take a couple questions. Before I get off here, I have a short amount of time because I'm pretty busy. But before I do that, I love you guys. You guys are awesome. I'm sorry that it took me so long to do another live with you guys. Uh, I've just been crazy busy. Not an excuse. You guys are very, very important to me. And I hope you guys have been liking my content that I've been putting out. I've been trying to keep up with that. I think I went a week and a couple days without putting something up, which is the longest streak that I've had in a long time, and I apologize for that. But during that time, my editor actually went to the memorial with me and was filming, and so that's why we didn't get our stuff up in time. But I hope you guys like that kind of vloggy tournament style thing that I just put up. If you haven't watched it, go back and watch it. It's my newest video. Next thing, I am coming out with another video tonight, so please go watch that one. My views have gone way down. The algorithm of YouTube has been like punishing me a bit because of a couple things. Not sure exactly what it is, but they've punished me a little bit. So go check that out tonight. Get those views back up. If you are not a Patreon member, please, that helps a lot. I just bought my editor a new keyboard. I paid for him to come out to Memorial with the Patreon to film me and get that vlog stuff out. So that is coming up so huge. You have no idea. Patreon.com/Paul Uliberry. Please, the support like helps me in ways you could never imagine. I mean, I plan on having him come out and do that vlog style, kind of docu style filming at a few tournaments. I'm hoping the Worlds. I'm hoping a couple other ones. And with that being said, if I can get him to come out on those, I mean that last video was fire. Like I really enjoyed watching that. So I'd love to get those things, but the only way I can do that is by the help from my Patreon, and so I really, really appreciate it because that's super expensive. And it's not easy to bring you guys the content that we're doing. So I just saw in the comments somebody asking about scratch to scratch. That I'm still working on that. I mean, you have no idea. That's a huge project. We've dumped about 20 something $1,000 into that project. And so I want to make sure to get that right. And I want it to be as good as possible kind of going on my channel because that project is really big. So if it takes a bit longer, then so be it. But look for that, I think, end of April or something. Ezra's coming in right now. What's up, Ez? Yeah. Come on over here. Have a seat. So my touring partner, Ezra Aderhold. If you guys have any questions for Ezra, he is now a new guest, my first ever guest on my live.
Is it really?
Yeah,
Holy crap, I'm honored.
Yeah.
Can you help me?
This is YouTube, so.
Oh, okay. I was actually just watching it.
You were?
Did you see me comment?
No, I didn't.
I had 2 comments. I said one was a little box of rice with little chopsticks coming out, and then I said miss you.
Oh, that was nice of you. All right, let's get you in here and then read the comments, answer a couple questions for him.
What up, E? All right, let's see here. You, Ed, do you think should compete and win against playoffs 10 years from now? I think I can compete against playoffs 10 years from now. Yeah, hopefully I can be in the sport for a long time. I'm hoping this is a career move. So hopefully the next 20 years I should be able to play at an elite level. Let's see. Yuli, you playing Clash Cans, Ezra, defending champ. I'd like to, but I think we'll probably be skipping it since we're going to Europe is the plan, and that's like right when we go to Europe. So unfortunately, we probably will be skipping that. We're going to get that new Roach. The new Roaches are dropping every so often on otbdiscs.com. I think they're just doing small drops, kind of different times, just to let the most amount of people get a chance to snag them. So those are sick. What do you think about the nickname Elza? Not my favorite. I like Ez or Ezzy is what I would go with. Can you guys arm wrestle physically? Nah, I don't know.
What about the nickname Easy?
Easy?
That's kind of cool.
I don't like it.
Easy E?
I dislike it more now.
Oh, sorry.
We'll be driving to Europe. Yeah, that's actually so. With my contract, we actually got a boat that we're gonna take to Europe, and it's like a nice little 2-seater speedboat type of deal. We're gonna cruise over.
So fast.
It's so fast. We're gonna cruise over, play the tournament, win European Open, whatever. Get back in, cruise back, and then then we're good to go for the rest of it. You live as you are. What other situations do you play for par? I'm sure that's really hard to do as an aggressive player.
When do I play for par? Like, so I just explained that, like, in windy situations, I feel like par can be really good, and I did that today and last week a few times. But the one thing that I tell people is to understand your scramble distance. What I mean by that is, on a par four, you look at the trouble on the hole, so you got to dissect the hole. If there is trouble on a 450-foot hole, a good 80 feet off the tee, let's say, and you hit that and you can kick left or right and not have like a very good gap from there up to the basket, then maybe hitting that gap is more important than you playing aggressive for the birdie. Now, if the trouble is, let's say, halfway up the fairway, then I'm always going to be aggressive because I feel like my scramble game is so good that even if I hit halfway up the fairway, I'm going to be able to scramble from there. So understanding your scramble distance is so important. And I think that's something that a lot of people overlook. So I'll be less aggressive knowing that the trouble's early, and I'll make sure to get the par. But if the trouble is farther up the fairway, then I'll be super aggressive because I know there's no consequences, because even if I hit and kick in the woods, I'm going to be able to get up and down. My scramble distance is about 300 feet. And so by knowing that, now I can be aggressive on almost every hole on the planet, because there's not a lot of course designers that punish you right away. There's not a lot, right? That's just in the woods in general. And I've like really worked on my game to be able to hit gaps, the initial gap. So I don't even worry about it when it's like 20 to 30 feet off. But when it's like 80 to 100 feet off the tee, that's really tough for you to navigate your disc through that opening. 40 feet, easy. 80 feet, now your disc is kind of getting into its natural flight and at its flip spot. And so then it can do other things that are out of your control. So hopefully that answers that. One more for Ez, and then we got to go.
Let's see. Let's see. What do you consider windy? Anything in Texas is windy. It's always windy in Texas.
What do I consider windy? Texas.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. I would say anything over like 12 miles an hour maybe is windy. I feel like if it's like 10 miles an hour or less, I feel like it's pretty manageable, and you can kind of just disc up a little bit. If it's like it is today, like 25 miles an hour, that's when even the super overstable stuff starts to get a little scary, and it makes it a lot more difficult. So
Yeah.
that is what I would say. I wouldn't drive my boat in anything over 12 miles an hour.
Smart. Oh, does that mean we're out for Europe?
I think so.
Oh no.
Launch is gonna take us like a long time to get there.
All right, let's do one more. Maybe one for both of us. You guys don't stop. All right. Squats would help with distance. Yeah, probably. Do I remember signing your brother's disc? No, but I'm glad I did it. Happy I did that. What's the best way to teach someone to snap the elbow forward during a forehand?
I would like to know.
Yeah, I don't know what that even means, but probably let's find another one. I'm sorry I read that. I'm sorry I read that. No disrespect. I don't understand what you're saying.
So we don't know the answer.
Yeah. Ever been hit by disc? Yes. Plans for time off NorCal during? No, I don't want to answer that. Don't know that far ahead. Do you ever listen to music while playing? Practicing sometimes.
Same.
But never during a tournament. Yep. Will you guys play in Australia? Hopefully, eventually. Absolutely. I'd love that.
Be sick.
Funniest moment in the RV so far? It's constant. I can't even. They're all up there. Who smells worse, Ezra?
No, well, okay. You know what? You invite me on live, then you roast me.
Do you also eat beans? Yes, I do. I love beans. You guys rock. Go Kona. I agree. Yeah, go Kona. Top 3 disc golf experiences. I would have to wait a second. I want a good one, and then we gotta go. We gotta go. Oh, I might have to go actually. That's the tournament director. Yep, I gotta go.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, last thing before I go. Don't open that door, even though he's going to be knocking. uh, Friday night, Ledgestone is going to be launching Big Z zones, Yuli stamped. They're going to go so fast, I'm telling you. Friday night, usually 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. They're going to be dropping Big Z zones. So I'm letting you guys know because I love you guys, and they're going to go so fast. So go over there and grab a couple of those. Again, I'm sorry this is 20 minutes. 20 minutes is pretty good. But thank you for the support, and thanks for everything. Oh, there he is. He's tracking me down. I got to go. Bye.